Hello and welcome to our podcast where we focus on the policies, procedures, programs, and personalities within the courts. I am Kadish Fletcher, the Acting Director for Client Services and Communications at the CAD. In this episode, we are speaking with the Chief Court Statistician, Dr. Denarta Dennis, and our focus is on the Judicial Case Management System. Dr. Dennis, thank you very much for joining me. What is the Judicial Case Management System?
The JCMS, Judicial Case Management System, is a new case management and data capture platform that is expected to be rolled out in the courts in 2021. It's expected to replace the existing data capture systems, the Case Information Statistical System, CIS, GEMS in the Supreme Court, and possibly the TTMS platform in the traffic courts. So this is a web-based system which will integrate all courts across the island, across jurisdictions, on a single platform. Data will be inputted in real time or as close as possible to real time based on the re-engineered business processes. And additionally, data will be available in close to real time, which will be a substantial improvement from our current situation where there's always a lag between the completion of the data inputs for any particular period and the availability of that data for processing. Apart from that, there are some other significant advances that the system brings to us as a court system. First of all, I want to underscore again the fact that it's web-based, so it's accessible from anywhere in the court system at any time. It can also be accessed off-site, so off the court's direct network to whoever is given that kind of privilege. So that is obviously a significant advantage, and it will, for example, facilitate being able to continue your work beyond the confines of the office at any given point. And the fact again that the cases are accessible continuously is a huge advantage. The system is also equipped with a web filing capability, so attorneys and litigants, well, starting with attorneys, will be able to file cases digitally. We're going to start this with the Court of Appeal and the Supreme Court and monitor its success and progression, and then eventually it will reach other courts. But this is a significant advancement that should bolster the efficiency with which cases are processed and handled in the court system. So an attorney will be able to sit in their office literally and file a case from right there to the Supreme Court, to the Court of Appeal. And there will be designated officers in the court to vet these submissions that are made, determine if the filings are adequate to support judicial formation. Right, and whatever feedback needs to be remitted to the attorneys, then that officer will coordinate the responses, the digital responses. A very big part of this transformation is that the courts are expected to move from being heavily manual, as it is right now, to over 90% digital over the period January 2021 to February 2022, all things being equal. That is the expectation if all things are in place in terms of adequate resources, etc. Right? That the possibility is certainly there for that to happen. What this will mean is that the records in the system will become the main records of the court, primary records of the court. So in the same way you take up a physical file, and take a physical file into court, or access a physical file to prepare it for court, right? Or to view particular information or metadata. In the same way you interact with the physical file you will alternatively be interacting with the digital records in the system as the file and as the documents that constitute a particular case. Having said that, the manual files, there will be a replica, there will be a copy of every digital file that exists in the system, right? So that whilst the digital platform is our main reference point in as far as case information is concerned and files and documents is concerned, fact is that we will maintain physical backups of all records that exist in the system. In the event of any unlikely eventualities, then we will still be in a position to avoid disrupting normal court activity.
You said quite a bit there, Dr. D.
Yes.
What kind of timelines are we looking at for the rollout of the JCMS?
The rollout is scheduled to take place between January 2021 and February 2022. In other words, all things being equal, by the end of February 2022, all business lines and all courts across the system would have been transformed from the current manual or existing electronic systems to use of the JCMS platform.
How does that impact staff?
Well, in some cases, the impact will be significant. In other cases where systems of a similar nature existed, the impact will be less dramatic. In the parish courts, for example, you are going to find that we will have to repurpose some staff members, and we will have to re-engineer the business processes. In fact, the business processes are being re-engineered as we speak. And as part of that re-engineering exercise, we will invariably have to repurpose some staff, some work roles along the case flow continuum. So what you will find, for example, is that we all know one of the characteristic features of the parish courts is the maintenance of a physical court sheet. It's a large book or set of books that are used to list the activities, the cases rather, that are scheduled for any particular day, and the judge then records the outcomes regarding that case or those cases for the particular day. Under the JCMS, that will be a thing of the past. So the first thing is that the court list will no longer be a manual court list. It's digitally generated. So this is also one of the great advances that the JCMS brings to us. So instead of an assistant clerk, for example, sitting down, spending hours on end to list the matters for the next sittings, then all of that exercise will be done digitally.
Is that something that somebody physically does at a computer, or is that a process that is automated, the court list?
All right, let's call it a semi-automated exercise, because somebody has to go into the system to define the parameters that are necessary. Meaning that someone has to go in and specify what date interval you're interested in. If you're interested in a particular court, the list for a particular courtroom in front of a particular judge, you can define those parameters in the system, right? If you're interested in a particular day or set of days, court list for a particular day or set of days.
Let me see if I can just ensure that we are clear, and so our listeners are also very clear.
Absolutely.
I'm an assistant clerk, and usually at the end of the court day,
yes,
I am preparing the list either for the next day or the next few days. However,
great.
I now would go onto the computer,
yes,
log into the system,
absolutely,
and I would put in whatever information, let's say for the court list for Monday, January 11, 2020.
Correct.
And it can give me the matters that will be heard, all the matters that will be heard on the day.
Yes.
Or I can also say, I want to see the matters which are before Justice Brown,
That's
and it will
correct.
give me that alone.
That is correct.
I can also look for matters for, say, courtroom 5,
Yes,
and
you
it will
can.
give me those.
That is correct.
Oh, I see.
That is correct. Obviously, there's a front loading exercise that has to enable this, which is that the information on new dates that are set, new or initial dates that are set, would have already had to be inputted into the system.
Right.
So for new matters at the point of filing, if dates are set, if dates are linked to the cases at the point of filing, then those dates will be set in the system right away at the point of filing.
So you're saying,
For example, civil return days.
right?
Yes.
So you're saying that no longer then will the judge say 16, but I heard 6, and I put that on the list.
Right. Well, I see. I get your question, but even so, that's the other aspect. At the point of filing, the dates will be set in the system where possible. But also for matters that are adjourned in court, those new dates will have to be scheduled in the system, preferably as it happens in the live court environment.
Okay.
Right? And so the expectation is that some assistant clerks at least will be playing a more active role in the live court environment, being required to adjourn cases, adjourn dates as it happens in court, and set future dates.
Okay.
So it is from those dates that are set now, those future dates that are set in the live court environment, as well as first dates of appearance or return days set at the point of filing. It is from those dates now that were front loaded into the system that the court list will be generated.
Let us focus on the attorneys, for example.
Yes.
How will this system impact how they interact with the courts?
All right, good question. The attorneys will be impacted in 2 primary ways. Certainly for the High Court jurisdictions, Supreme Court, Court of Appeal. As I mentioned at the start, the attorneys will be able to file civil cases and other cases, civil, estate, matrimonial, commercial, the civil and the what could be considered as offshoots, right? Civil cases can be filed electronically. What would happen is that the attorneys will need to apply for access, for web access to the system, so it's not automatic, right? For accountability and management purposes, good management dictates that. So an attorney can still file a case manually at the window. That alternative is there in the interest of access to justice and preserving a broad range of avenues through which justice can be tapped.
But certainly for the convenience.
And the efficiency, attorneys will have the opportunity to e-file their cases as I mentioned, in the civil side, in the Supreme Court, and also Court of Appeal cases. How this will work is that they will make an application to the particular registry. The registrar, deputy registrar, will review, authorize, and then IT would issue the necessary access credentials
Is
to
this
that particular attorney.
is this a one-off accreditation, or do they need to do it for each case that they're filing?
It's renewable annually at the moment. So, I mean, we can always, in the future, look at whether it needs to be a more extended timeline, say 2 years, 3 years. But initially, we want to start with a 1-year access provisioning, and then you renew after that year has expired.
And just to be clear, the accreditation is free of cost for the attorneys?
Free of cost.
Okay.
What it also does is that it allows the attorneys to be able to constantly check on the status of their cases on the attorney portal. There's an attorney portal in the system, or a web portal then, right, that is linked to the system. So the attorney can check to see if what future date is set, what is the last date of appearance, right?
If a requisition was issued
If a requisition was issued on for the matter, right? What is the status of the review of that requisition? So all of that the attorney can now check digitally in the platform using the access that they are given, right, that they would have applied for. Now, the thing to be very aware of here as well is that the public, while the public initially will not be provisioned to file cases in the kind of way that attorneys will be, the public will be able to check. There's a public portal that allows, which we just call it a web portal. It allows the public, John public, to access this particular link and check on the status of their cases. Alright, so John public can just go on the system at any time, type in his case number, or even his name, and of course further search information will be required of him, and he can identify what is the status of his case.
Wow, I'm very, very excited about this,
Yes,
Dr. Dennis.
yes.
I didn't know about the different portals.
Oh, definitely. It's
and
very
think
interactive.
This is
very
going
modern.
to be, this is really going to be a game changer in terms of how we offer service
It certainly will be.
to court users, because we are moving now really to live in the reality that court is not a place anymore, but rather the service
That's correct.
that we provide. And so this is really very, very interesting, and it's going to be disruptive in a good way.
Oh, absolutely.
For what we do.
Absolutely.
I am particularly pleased that the public, for example, can go on and check on their matters,
Yes,
and so on. Of course, limited access because they wouldn't be privy.
Limited access.
Right.
So it's a summary information on the status of the matter.
Of the matter.
Where is the matter at in the court system? What are the dates that it would have appeared before the court in the past, and what is the next date that it is set to appear? So it's
Right.
limited to that. Is my case active? Is it pending? Right? Has my decree absolute been granted? Right? Is my matter at a decree nisa, my divorce matter at a decree nisa stage?
And sometimes, Dr. Dennis, the registry staff, because
Yes.
the registries are understaffed, they get so bogged down just with these queries. And so I think that this will bode well for them in terms of channeling those queries onto this portal, so that they can really be more free
Definitely.
to actually do
Definitely.
the work in the registry.
Definitely.
So absolutely.
One of the things that we have contemplated is the possibility of creating over time kiosks in the different courts.
Okay.
So that, for example, instead of having to come to the customer service desk to check on when was the last date, you know, these things seem simple, but they do occupy quite a bit of productive time. You just go into the kiosk and check, type in your case number or your name or the particulars. There are multiple particulars that you can search for your matter based on, and there will be a public sensitization as far as that is concerned as well. And the attorneys, by the way, will be trained. So there is an initiative that is currently being spearheaded by the Office of the Chief Justice, registrars, and the Deputy Registrar for the Civil Division, Ms. Janelle Nib, and they will be carrying out a live testing of the attorney platform during the month of January, right? And the Court of Appeal will also be doing some amount of testing using a different format during the month of January as well. These are two of the early courts that will be on the system, right? And just to go back to the question that you had posed earlier regarding the impact on staffing and staffing structures. So, as I was saying, in the parish courts, the work of the assistant clerks in particular will be fundamentally impacted, and there will have to be some amount of repurposing. The extent of repurposing will be conditional on the state of the court. When I say the state of the court, I mean the availability of resources in the courtrooms and in the registries, plus also the number of assistant clerks that are available at the particular court's disposition. But in general, what you can expect is that the assistant clerks will play a greater role in court, in the live environment, in the setting of future dates, and the closing of existing dates, because that is what partly substitutes for, the front ending of the information that is necessary to generate the court list that they would ordinarily write in the book. Yes.
Right.
So that will be fundamentally affected. The other thing that will be fundamentally affected is that the manner in which the court list is generated will now be very different. It's going to be digital, and so the assistant clerks will be playing a bigger role in the live court environment, in the closing of dates, in the setting of future dates digitally, and also in the registering of new cases in the system, right? So that's another aspect as well. So the assistant clerks will have to play a significant role in interacting with the system, putting in new cases in the system as they come. For some business lines, of course, different business lines operate slightly differently, but for some business lines, they will have to play a central role in assisting. This won't be it won't be a responsibility that they absorb solely, but they will play a role in putting on new cases in the system as well. Of course, data entry will play a significant role in that function as well.
Will there be any changes in our scheduling practices as a result of this system?
No, that's a good question. Well, first of all, I want to say that the system does allow the courts to be very surgical and scientific in the way in which we manage our schedule. What do I mean by that? What I mean is that the system is designed to regulate clashes, right? So if a matter was scheduled for 10 a.m. in courtroom 2, and there's another person that is attempting to schedule that same time, date, and courtroom, or even judge, schedule those resources, then the system will create a flag to say that the resource is out of capacity, right? It's not available.
Okay.
Right? So there's the regulation of dates, time, courtroom, and judges. So you can't multi-book.
Right. I have several questions here, Dr.
Yes,
Dennis.
go ahead.
It's designed to regulate clashes, right? How will this impact, for example, a return day in the parish courts?
Yes, all right. So, well, I mean,
For example,
yes,
you said that I can't double book.
yes,
Are we going to get to the point where I have a matter and I'm told to come at 10, and
okay.
John Brown has a matter and he's to come at 10:30? Are we gonna get to that stage? Is that where we're heading?
That is where we're heading. That's definitely where we're heading. So, the system is the scheduling in the system is time based. So the capability of the system is this. Now, I want to put it up front to say that there's a lot of gains in efficiency and proper management of time that we can make from this system. We can easily recede into the old way, where, for example, a man comes to court at 10 a.m. and waits until 4 p.m. for his matter to be called up. Or we can tap into the full benefit of the system, which allows us to set a particular matter for a specific length of time, start and end time. So, John Public who comes to court, the judge would be in a position to say, and the assistant clerk therefore schedule in the system, that his next date of appearance is February 1st from 10 a.m. to 10:20 a.m.
And I think this is the case management that the Chief Justice has been talking about.
Certainly.
So the simple and the complex cases and the length of time.
So here's the thing now. It's not as easy as it sounds, because it's not very easy to estimate how long many cases will last. Of course, the more experienced the persons setting dates are, the more useful it would be in this respect. But it is not an exact science. And so my anticipation is that this kind of methodology will work best for trial matters. Right? That is our expectation. For trial matters, you tie the trial matters to particular times. Right? Initially it's going to be easiest that with those kinds of matters, and over time we build out the use of this model so that it can be applied to all types of matters. Right?
Okay.
It's better for the way in which we manage our resources internally, and it's also better for the public, who will be who will likely be better served to know that I have a date and time. Not just a date.
What a time.
A date and time.
I'm still on the point of regulating the clashes.
Yes.
Attorneys,
Yes.
sometimes, whether knowingly or unknowingly, will have a matter in St. Catherine on January 11 at 10. They would also have a matter in Clarendon
Yes.
on the same day. Will this system flag those types of clashes for attorneys?
Certainly. That will be a thing of the past. So if an attorney has a matter scheduled for 10 a.m. in Savlamar, and he is currently 10 a.m. on the 3rd of March in Savlamar, and he is currently in a matter at the Supreme Court or even another parish court, and there is that the same date is proposed, March 3rd, 10 a.m. The system will flag to say that this attorney is already scheduled at another location, and you can look and see what the location is at that time. So it will regulate those clashes as well. So if for whatever reason, purposely or otherwise, an attempt is made to book multiple matters for the same time and date, the system will create a flag to say that that is the case.
All right.
Plus, it's important to point out that the system manages your history.
Hope so.
All right. So, if John Public has 4 bench warrants outstanding for him, let's say four bench warrants on traffic tickets, and he comes before Court X, immediately as his information is put into the system will create a flag to say John Public has 4 bench warrants outstanding for him. right?
Okay.
So this kind of regulation and management of your history is also provided. If an attorney is added to a case, the system will also tell you that this attorney has 100 cases in this court,
Okay.
right? Automatic information that pops up, right? It's the same way for case participants like the accused or complainants, defendants. System automatically just tells you how many matters you have in the system, in the court. All citizens that have a TRN and or voter's ID will be preloaded into the system. Your information.
This is now speaking to jury duty, Dr. Dennis.
Yes, correct. That is to support the jury selection process.
Right. I gathered that the system will now automatically generate those
Jury lists.
the jury list
That's
and,
correct.
and the summons.
That's correct. So that
Okay.
is another very important benefit of the system. The jury list and the jury summons will be generated automatically by the system based on the preloading of the demographic information of the citizens.
So this will level the playing field then, Dr. Dennis, because sometimes we've heard the complaints that this is like my third time for the year serving as a juror.
The system will manage that.
Okay.
The system will manage that. So if John Public was selected and impaneled in the Hillary term, first term of the year, then the system so the person was impaneled, and the system automatically excludes John Public from the algorithm for selection for the rest of the year.
Okay.
In fact, if memory serves me correct, it excludes them for 3 years
Okay.
from further selection.
Okay.
Right? So what this will do is that it will broaden the pool of persons who are participating in the jury process. And based on the preloading of the TRN and voters list, we will be able as a court system to define any number of persons we want to select to be served
Okay.
for jury duty at any given time for any parish.
And of course, we know that there will be training, so we look forward
definitely.
to the rollout of that. Dr.
Definitely,
Dennis.
there will be extensive training.
Right.
Extensive training.
So we look forward to the rollout of that, and again,
Yes.
we just want to thank you for taking the time out
Yes.
to inform and educate all of us
Yes.
on the benefits of this new and certainly game-changing tool, the JCMS, that we'll be using soon. Thank you so much, Dr. Dennis,
Absolutely.
and we'll
My
be in
pleasure.
touch.
My pleasure.